Hello, welcome to Creating Stuff. My name is Jim. Today in the shop, I'm back working on my Inferno project. If you tuned into the last episode, like I said, I hit a real big milestone. Is Inferno actually moved under its own power for the first time in years. And so, good milestone. And moved on its own power and actually had brakes. So, but all I did was moved around the yard a little bit. Had a few issues to take care of, but in this episode, this is hopefully going to be a fun one. Well, at least for me anyways, because I want to get Inferno ready to do the first real test drive where I can get it up to speed, test the suspension, test the steering, make sure the transmission's working, which, I mean, in a low gear, I've already gotten into overdrive in the automatic, so I know all 4 gears are working in it, but once again, just normal conditions, I want to see if this thing is going to work and work well. So, but in order to do that, I have a few housekeeping things, which off camera, since the last episode, I tidied up some of my brake lines on the underside. I zip tied them up, secured them, so they actually look a little better. Not completely done with that because I have so much more to do this truck. I don't want to have to cut it back out, put it back in. So some areas I have not secured the brake lines. But guess what? You'll probably never see that. But then the other side of it is, I did make a mention on how the rear brakes weren't acting really well. Well, my dad was over this morning. He gave me a hand bleeding them since I was bleeding the brakes by myself for the last video. He gave me a quick hand, found out I had a little bit of, had some air pockets in the rear brake circuit. So I'm expecting the rear brakes and the brakes to work a lot better this time. So all that got taken care of. But the big thing I got to do before I can really do the test drive is I have to charge nitrogen in these coilover shocks, because when I set up the spring rates, I actually released all the nitrogen just to make them easier to work with, so they actually would move in and out. So I ended up, once again, so I let the nitrogen out. I got to put the nitrogen back in before I can do the first test drive. So, anyways, we'll tell you what. Let me get into charging these shocks, and we'll get into the test drive and see how this thing's doing. So let me get to it. All right, well, I was at the welding supply earlier today. I had to get some shielding gas from my MIG welder. I went ahead and picked up a tank of compressed nitrogen. Now, looking at it, I probably could have gotten, this is a 40 cubic foot bottle, probably could have gotten to 20, because these shocks aren't taking a whole lot. But anyways, is what it is. Probably got overkill, but at least I'm going to have it, so when I get to the point of tuning the shocks and I have to revalve them and do other work to them, I can let the pressure out of them, and I can recharge them at free will. So I got that tank, and I went ahead and got this charging kit. Is basically, it starts off, has a regulator, and then it feeds a manifold. Has a manifold where you have the gauge to tell how much pressure you have. You have a bleed valve if you got to release some. And this is the on-off valve, so you can control the nitrogen. And then you have the service port valve that goes into the Schrader valve on the auxiliary reservoir. So tell you what, let me go ahead and get this hooked up, and you'll see the process. First step, I'm going to take the dust cap off of the service port. And all that service port is equivalent of a Schrader valve on your tires. But those are used for many things, from tires to this to AC systems. So, all right, I'm gonna thread that on. Give it a little tight, give it a little twist, and then after you give the twist, you have to depress the Schrader valve like so. All right. Now I'm going to turn on the bottle. So it shows I have 2,000 psi in the tank. I have my regulator set at about 150. Actually, because tweak that just a little bit. King actually recommends 150 psi in these shocks. You can actually do more pressure or less pressure. You could probably do some fine tuning on how stiff the shocks are. But all right, now we're going to go to the manifold. All right, now that I'm over here with the manifold, I'm going to turn the valve on. And I don't know if you heard the hissing, but I heard the hissing and the piston moving inside of the remote reservoir shock. So I've got 150 psi on the gauge. I'm going to shut that valve off. Then I undid the valve on the service port. Now I'm going to hit this bleed valve. All right, now that I relieve the pressure. Then I'll go back up here and remove the service fitting. And then put the protective cap back on it. All right, that wasn't that hard. I think probably the hardest part on that was spending the money for that tank of nitrogen, and I spent $200 for that charge kit. So I think that's the worst part about it. And there's definitely more expensive ways you can go, but that worked, and I've got it for future use. So I tell you what. Let me go ahead and charge the rest of the 3, and then I'll bring you back for some cool fun stuff. Let me get back to it. Well, the time has finally come. I put in enough work. Now it's time to truly test Inferno for the first time. So I got to take him to a buddy's place. So I'm going to take Inferno on a little bit of a road trip. So I got to hook a trailer up, load him up, and so I can take this truck somewhere where I have enough room where I can get up to speed and test the suspension. So tell you what, let me get the trailer hooked up, get Inferno loaded up, and I'm going to hit the road, and I'm bringing all you along with me. So let's get to it. All right, I got Inferno all strapped down, secured, good to go. Let's go burn some diesel fuel. Well, I made it. I am now at an undisclosed location. This is private property. So this is the perfect place where they have some hard packed roads that are good enough where I can get some speed so I can test Inferno. And just to put it out there, just to get is, as I said, I'm on private property. Right now, Inferno does not have is not registered nor insured, so I will not be driving on a public road. I will only be driving on private land, and the only person around is going to be me. Or the only person in the truck is going to be me. So I am going to be if anyone's going to get hurt, it's going to be me. The public is in no danger with me doing this. So I apologize about the wind and possible wind noise. It's a little cool where I'm at. So tell you what, let me go ahead and get Inferno unloaded, and let's have some fun. Now, I would like you to enjoy a few clips I took, different points of view of the suspension and Inferno in generally. So I'm just going to play a bunch of these clips, and I hope you enjoy them. this has been a very successful day. That is the most I've driven Inferno ever. Actually, that little patch of gravel road, I think I probably went back and forth probably about 20-30 times. But I got a real good feel of how the truck and the suspension is working. I have some issues I have to take care of. I had a little bit of death wobble, which I never checked toe on it. I never checked the toe on the front end at all. I did not bring my angle finder to check to see where my caster is right now. It was a 5 degrees positive caster when the last time I checked. So, and then also I'm contributing to the death wobble. I think the shocks are a bit on the soft side. So I said that, and but on some good things is the engine is running good. I had a high idle issue, but it seems like running it a little bit, that idle's actually come down a little bit. So I'm pretty happy where it's idling right now. Transmission is working fantastic. Everything is working exactly how it's supposed to with the transmission. So like I said, that's very good. And then another issue I got is I might have to do a bar change on the rear axle, because it's torquing over a lot. So like I said, I still got some tweaking I got to do, and tightening the shocks up might help the rear as well. So anyways, so all in all, it's been a very successful day. A little chilly outside with the wind blowing. That's why I'm doing this outro in the cab of the Dodge. So but all in all, I'm very happy. I've got a little bit of work I got to do to it, but that was to be expected. I was not expecting this to be perfect right out of the gate. So but with all that said, I'm gonna have to end this video, because all the tweaking and all that's I'm gonna do with this truck. Once again, ultimately, some of the stuff like the valving for the shocks, I really have to get the truck to its final curb weight before I truly mess with that. I'll probably see what I can do for the time being. So, but anyways, it's doing good. But if you like this kind, actually, before I get to that part, and then the last thing is, I don't know how the videos are landing, but basically, I'm taking a break from Inferno for a while, because I got the truck to a good convenient spot, meaning I can turn the key, put it in gear, I can move it, stop it, so the truck is not in the way. As before, when the suspension was cut out of it, sitting on my rack, it was in the way. I couldn't move it, not easily anyways. So the truck's in a real good spot. So I'm gonna probably take a break from Inferno for a while. I have some other content that I will be sharing with everybody. Not quite content like building Inferno here, but hopefully you might take something away from it. Yeah, I'm going to be taking a break for Inferno for a little while, so I might go a while without a video on Inferno. So, but like I said, I'm not stopping, but sometimes you do have to take a break, because I go in pretty hot and heavy on it. And although the videos are significantly delayed, upwards of 2 months from when I did the work to when the videos come out. So, but the reality of it is, since I started back working on it again, starting with the rear, I worked on this truck for about 2 months to finish the rear suspension, do the shock mounts, put the coilover springs in, getting the engine to run, drive shaft, brakes, and everything. That was about 2 months worth of work for me. So, but I'm ready to take a break. So anyways, if you like this kind of video and you like what I'm giving you, please like the videos, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed, please. Like I said, once again, I'm doing these videos for you, so hopefully you can get something out of it. But tell you what, I'm just going to leave it at that, and I will see you on the next one. So until then, be creative.